everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at 10 expansions from Carcassonne. So a couple caveats here I want to talk about. I like Carcassonne. For the most part, I like that Carcassonne has expansions. It's been turned into a joke, ha ha ha, Carcassonne has too many expansions, yada yada yada, but I've never minded the different expansions. It's a very expandable game. So these expansions now come in these very small boxes. Here's an example of the size of the box. Very easy to add to your Carcassonne game until you try to add all 10 of them. Each one has little markings. They add a bunch of different features. They add a bunch of tiles. And I gotta say, come on, to Hans and Gluck, just make the river part of the game. Because every single one of these expansions has to go out of their way to explain, if you're using the optional expansion river, which comes in every Carcassonne game, just tell people they have to use the river. For goodness sake, it would save me a lot of trouble. But anywho. Now, Carcassonne already has a bunch of expansions. Some of these are the exact same as the original expansions. Some are very different, even if they use the same pieces. I'm not going to get into that here. I'm just going to go through each of the expansions from my least favorite to my favorite of these expansions and talk about them separately. And you can look at the differences yourself if you already own one and you want to see if there's any differences. They're going to appeal to different play styles. I think my favorite, is clearly heads and tails above my least favorite, but your mileage may vary. But here we go. Let's go through all 10 expansions. Carcassonne Siege and Defense is a game in which Carcassonne is being attacked by catapults, and you are defending it. Here's what's in the box. Carcassonne Siege and Defense starts by having a large pair of tiles put here. They're called a fortress, and you can flip these based on the number of players in the game. So this is a 3-player game for both of these, and the other side would be a 4 or 5-player game. So 2 or 3, 4 or 5. The game comes with a couple catapults, and it gives everybody 2 meeples as well as a bunch of tiles. So there's a couple things going on here. Whenever you place out one of the 3 major types here, knights, travelers, or the monks, you can take another meeple if you want to and add it to the defense row here. So as you add these meeples to the defense row, this is if I had placed a traveler. If you play a farmer, you can place an extra meeple on a spot here that's laying down, and that spot can have as many people on it as you want. If a row ever gets complete for any reason, then every meeple there will score 3 points, regardless whether they're laying down or standing up, and all removed. If there's a catapult there, the catapult is also removed, and this will also happen at the end of the game before final scoring. The other things that will happen is, on these new tiles, there are different symbols here. So if I draw this symbol, for example, I will add a catapult to the traveler tile. Sometimes I add it to 2 different sections, and sometimes you pick the section it's added to. If it's added to a section where there already is a catapult, then there's an attack. Everybody who has a meeple there will score 3 points, and everyone who does not have a meeple there is going to lose one of their meeples of that type somewhere on the map. So here you would lose a traveler, here you would lose someone in a city, and here you would lose one of your people, one of the monks, and they would be gone. And so that's basically what this game adds. You'll notice there's spots for the river if you're playing with that. This is my least favorite of the new expansions. I would give it a 5 out of 10. And I think a lot of it is just the fact that I just find it to be kind of boring. You're throwing extra meeples on these defense just so you can get possibly 3 points and or stop yourself from losing something on the map. I dislike losing something on the map. And this isn't the only expansion that does it. There's another one, Princess and Dragon, which I like more because that one feels more interesting in how it works out. This one just kind of meh. I really don't like this one. It adds those extra meeples. That's all well and good. But you have to spend them by throwing them on this thing as defense. And it's just kind of extra stuff without extra fun, in my opinion. So I don't know. Of all the expansions, this is one I just would say I don't recommend. Carcassonne Jousts and Crests. This is one that adds an exciting feature, jousting. And you get to have your meeples fight other meeples. Let's see what's in the box. In Carcassonne Jousts and Crests, you are going to get this tile here with the tournament. If you're playing with the river, you'll still have this tile, but you'll actually start with this tile in the first bend of the river, then you'll add this in. Now, there's a couple things that are going on in this game besides having these crests and this. There's also these prize tiles, And you're going to have to set up a bunch of stacks based on the number of players, which is done by this chart here. And on each stack, it will show you where the crown starts on. There's going to be a crown, one of these tournaments here. And then you'll have a bunch of stacks of tile with these prize tiles on top. When you finish a stack of tiles, then there will be a tournament. So how do tournaments work? Whenever you continue a spot where you already have a meeple in, you can take one of these tokens and put it underneath that meeple. When a tournament happens for that area, you'll pick one of your knights or one of your travelers, etc. And you'll take the token that's underneath them, add it to the value of whatever they're in, how big their city is, how long the road is, etc. And whoever has the most is going to get these tiles. Now, these tiles are all city tiles with a statue in them. That statue makes every coat of arms worth 3 in that city. So you can see there's a whole bunch of different cities, including this weird one where a city crosses a city, because that's how cities work. And that is essentially what's in this expansion. More points for tournaments. After a tournament, this will move here. We'll go to the next stack, etc. This is another one of the Carcassonne expansions that I think adds more rules than adds fun to the game. I like the big tile that you put in the middle. That's kind of fun that you're building around. I like any game that adds that to it. But sticking the tiles underneath your Carcassonne, that's a little fiddly, first of all. But also, now there's a joust. Okay, and also the setup. You're having all these different stacks with the reward tiles on them. The reward tiles are fine, but they're not like that awesome. I would have preferred just a whole stack of reward tiles where, like, this one here is a side that goes up against anything. This one here has, almost extra stuff from the expansions, but I know that's not feasible. But the jousting, then revealing the token, adding it, see who wins, we move to the next one. It just felt like much ado about nothing. It's kind of there, almost there, but at the end of the day, I just feel like this is one that I would pass by. So a 5.5 out of 10. I like the theming of Jousts and Crests, but not one I want to add to my Carcassonne. Sheep and Shepherds. A Carcassonne expansion adds Push Your Luck. Let's see what's in the box. In the expansion Sheep and Shepherds, each player gets a shepherd of their color. And you also have another tile to add to the river if you want to. But in this game, whenever you make a tile so that it makes a field bigger, instead of putting out a farmer, as long as there's no other farmer or shepherd in a field, you can put a shepherd in that field. Now, whenever you put a shepherd in a field, you are going to pull a tile from this bag. Now, this bag is full of sheep that are 1 to 4 and a wolf. If you pull a sheep, you put it there. If you pull a wolf, well, the shepherd's gone. Take the shepherd back off the board. Try again later. You put a sheep there. Later on, if you add a tile that extends the field, you can add more sheep to this. But if you ever pull a wolf again, the wolf chases away your sheep and you get nothing. Alternatively, you can score your sheep and you'll get a point per sheep and your shepherd comes off the board. If somehow 2 shepherds get in the same field, they'll both score for all the sheep there. Same thing also, if a wolf shows up in a field with 2 shepherds, then it chases away all their sheep. All their sheep are considered one flock. Now, there's a lot of tiles in the new game that have a flock of geese, and if this is on the tile your shepherd is or adjacent to it, you're going to get points, an extra point for each tile, even though it shows 4 geese. That's kind of weird. And then there's also these vineyards which give extra points to abbots, abbots and friars or monks that are in their spots. They're going to give an extra 3 points if they're next to or diagonally adjacent to the monastery or garden that scores. So that's pretty much it. The game comes with a bunch more tiles that are included for this, and a bag to pull all the tokens from, and a tile that has 2 kissing cities for whatever reason. So this is pretty basic. The whole idea of pulling the sheep from the bag and you're adding sheep, and you're like, ooh, let's add 1 more sheep token. I'll score more points, but I might draw the wolf. And that's kind of what's there. There is 19 new land tiles. The vineyards. I think the vineyards are the most exciting part of it, and it's what keeps my score a little higher. I'm giving this a 6 out of 10 because I like the vineyards. The shepherds, I'm a big fan of Push Your Luck, but it just feels really wonky and random in this game. I guess you can count the tiles that came out, but the fact that I might throw someone in a field, connect those fields, draw a wolf, kill their sheep. Of course, they have time to score their sheep before that. The fact that the geese have 4 geese in the picture, but they only add 1 point. Wow, it really matters how many sheep are in the picture. I don't know. That sort of thing. But like I said, the vineyards are neat because I always thought that the monks are one of the most underrepresented scoring parts of the game. And I like that this is a way to increase them. So that brings it up a bit for me for a 6 out of 10. Carcassonne, Circus and Artists. You can now have a ring mistress and acrobats and just kind of circuses going on in general. Add it to your Carcassonne game. Let's take a look at what's in the box. In Circus and Artists, players are going to get a couple more meeples of their color as well as a ring mistress figure. There are 2 new types of tiles in the game. One of them here is a circus site. When you draw a circus site, you're going to take one of these random tokens here. That's the circus going on. And then you'll put this tent on top of it. Later on, when another circus site shows up, you're going to put a token there, move the big top to it, then reveal this one. And there's a number on it. You can see 3s, there's a 6, a 4. I think the highest number is a 7. I think one of them is a 7. And then every meeple who's on that tile or adjacent to that tile is going to score that many points. The other tile included here is an acrobat tile. When that shows up, you can take one of your meeples and put it there. Anyone who places next to it can, instead of placing it on a normal thing, can also put one here, and there can be up to 3. The third one rests on the shoulders of these, which is not as easy as it might sound. Come on, meeples, you know you can hold this guy up. Good job. Later on, if you don't place a meeple on a tile, you can decide to score one of these pyramids of 3 meeples that you are part of. And then each meeple there of your color, of everyone's color, will get 5 points. They'll also score at the end of the game whether they're finished or not. Finally, the ring mistress is essentially a regular meeple. You can put them down as a farmer, traveler, knight, etc. They score as normal, but the main difference here is that they will also get you bonus points for each circus or acrobat tile that is next to the feature that they are scoring. And you can see there's a lot of these different tiles that are added to the game. This one I find to be enjoyable. I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. I like the ring mistress is interesting, and the meeple pyramids, I actually would ding it a little bit for those because, like you saw when I stacked them, what a pain in the neck that is to stack these and have them fall over. Goodness. And they're also, it's not that exciting. I mean, I guess you put one there, put one there, put one there. Hey, now we got 5 points. Yay. But I really do like the circus. It gives a bit of area control. You put that token down, you're like, let's surround it. Now, to be fair, you might be doing this to get 1 point. And so that randomness might wrangle some people, but I kind of enjoyed trying to encircle those. And I do like the theming of this one overall. Hey, the circus has come to town. So, like I said, Circus Artists is a 7 out of 10 for me. Carcassonne Dragon and Fairy is going to be one of those expansions I think that divides people. It adds a dragon and it adds a fairy. One is good, one is bad. Here's what's in the box. Dragon and Fairy includes, well, you're not going to believe this, a dragon figure and a fairy figure. It has a new double-sided starting tile, especially if you're using the river, and then it has another river tile that when you place the last tile ending the river, it has to be this tile. So there are different kinds of tiles in this game. One is pretty simple. Here you have a portal. When you place a portal, you can put your meeple anywhere, not on this tile. You're also going to have these little, there's all kinds of weird extra things that are built, but the new one here is the dragon horde. When a dragon horde is placed, wherever it's placed, the first time, the dragon gets placed on it, and you pick the direction that they go in. And this matters because if you ever take a tile with the dragon symbol on it, the dragon's going to make 2 moves. They're going to move as far as they can in a straight line, killing every meeple in their way, and then turning and making another line like that. Now, the fairy can protect you from the dragon. The fairy you get when you finish a road or a city. Doesn't matter if it's yours or not. Then you'll put the fairy of one of your meeples. If the dragon hits you, then the dragon is going to be removed. He'll be put in front of you, and he comes out on the next turn, and you'll put him in one of the dragon lair locations. And as he's come out, he'll move from lair to lair, depending on who placed the tile. Also, if you score the meeple that has the fairy with them, you'll get an extra 3 points. And then there's a whole bunch of tiles that show these different symbols in it in this expansion. The dragon here, the way it moves on straight lines and everything, I like that it's controllable by the players. So you're going to get a new one out. You're like, ooh, I'm going to place this tile here. You have a bunch of meeples in that line. I'll put it there. You say, well, on my turn, I'm going to hopefully get a fairy out and put the fairy down in that line and stop the dragon. but still you're going to lose some meeples as this game goes by. And some people aren't going to like that, and I get it, and I can see those people rating this lower. I find it to be interesting. The fairy also giving you 3 points, even if you're not worried about the dragon, but the dragon's a real thing. I think I counted 9 tiles that activate the dragon, so it's going to be activated 9 times over the course of the game, likely. But again, the fairy's there to block it. You can also try to put your people in out-of-the-way spots where the dragon has a hard time getting to them. You just add some interesting strategy to the game for me, so a 7 out of 10. Carcassonne, Tower and Thieves. In this one, you are building towers to stop thieves. Let's take a look in the box. In the expansion Carcassonne, Towers and Thieves, you're not going to believe this, but it comes with a giant tower. Now, this tower obviously does not fit in the box, and they tell you in the rules not to take it apart, but it is very sturdy, and it will fit in your regular Carcassonne box. And this is just a way for you to put towers in like this. Now, you will have in this game some special tower tiles, and a tower tile here that's part of the river. When one of these tiles comes into play, you'll put a tower piece on that. That tower now has a range of 1, a range of 2. This matters because as you place people within that range, you have a chance to put a watchman on the tower. Your meeple fits on there very nicely. Otherwise, when you draw a thief tile, you'll look. All the towers that have no watchman on them are going to increase by 1 level. And if there is a watchman on it, they're going to score the points on the thief tile. If that doesn't happen, then you're going to draw from this tower pile here, which is going to give you another tower location. So you're going to have different towers that are rebuilt during the game. They have 5, and these towers can have meeples placed on them to get the points for the thieves. And that's pretty much all that's included in this expansion. This gets an extra point just for the tower to put your tiles. I've always loved that. It has enough for all the Carcassonne, plus many of the expansions to hold, if you want to put them all in that tower to pull off. And like I said, it's sturdy. The disadvantage is that you have to put it in your regular box, and it will take room, although I just store my tiles in the tower, in the box. I found that to be a good way. Now, the towers themselves, and this is actually, I think, a remarkable change from the original way this expansion was. Having these towers grow and the thieves there, I find the rules to be just a smidge fiddly, and it's a little weird because there's only 1 tower spot on the river, and the other tower spots occur when there is no, you basically, not necessarily inorganically, but when a thieves tile shows up, you do this. But controlling those towers is fun because you want to get on top of a tower. You want to be able to move and jump on top of a tower to be able to score points for these thieves when they come up because you can catch them. And that's kind of a fun thing to do. Also, visually, it looks cool on the board. Honestly, there's not a lot of content in this box because a lot of it's taken by the tile dispenser tower. But I also include that in my rating. I do like that tower a lot. So I give this one a 7 out of 10. That is Tower and Thieves. Carcassonne Castles and Bridges adds buildings to the mix. Let's take a look at what's in this box. Carcassonne Castles and Bridges, which for some reason should be called Castles and Bridges and Farms or Barns, includes 3 buildings. We have bridges, castles, and the barns, like I just mentioned. These can be played under various circumstances. The bridges, whenever you place a tile that has a road on it. So let's say, for example, I'm placing a tile next to this and has a road. This is normally a big no-no. But if it's a bridge, you can just put a bridge across it and claim it as a road. In fact, you can even put a meeple on top of that to claim that road, as long as there's bridges left. So they basically are adding roads. Then also, we have castles. If you ever make a 2-person castle or a 2-sized castle, you can put a castle there, and when you put someone in there, they are now a maiden. On your turn, you can score a maiden, and they're basically going to get you a point for every knight or maiden of any color that's in play. And then finally, if you put 4 tiles together, like this, and there's a 4-field corner here, then you can place a barn there and move one of your farmers into that barn. They will immediately get 1 point for every farmer that's of any color that's out in play, period, and they'll still act as a farmer at the end of the game. So this expansion, man, this is a jump up for me from the other expansions on how much I like this one. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. My favorite part, by far, are those bridges. Being able to take a road and continue it across. It can do some really fun things with the roads. The bridges also look really cool on the board. They don't block the stuff underneath them. They're tall enough to stick meeples underneath them. I just like the bridges. The castles are also nice, putting them out there. Those 2 castles is kind of a boring, hey, I built this castle, give me some points. I built this castle, give me some points. Now, put a maiden out there. I pull that maiden off when there's a lot of cities on the board to get some points. And the barn tiles, kind of a similar thing if you're playing, especially if you play with a lot of people who put out farmers. So those 2 things, the castles and barns, are pretty neat, but the bridges is really where it's at. It's my favorite part of this expansion. Castles and bridges, 8 out of 10. Inns and Cathedrals is the very first expansion for Carcassonne. Let's see what's in the box. The expansion, Carcassonne Inns and Cathedrals, is sort of like a patch of sorts. It has another player color, the pink meeples, along with the abbot, if you have that many expansion. But it also adds a grande meeple, which, honestly, they still need to make bigger. It's kind of bigger, but not that much bigger. Anyway, the grande meeple counts as 2 when you place in a thing. So in case you're fighting with someone over control of an area, that's bigger. But the main things that this adds are these inns with a little lake next to them. And if you have a road next to an inn, you'll score 2 points for each road piece instead of 1. And then these cathedrals, which will give you 3 points for each city tile, and then for each coat of arms that's in the city. And then it also adds a couple of these 100-point tiles. Finally, and this is why I call it a little bit of a patch, it just has a bunch of weird tiles that are not in a regular Carcassonne game. So if you're looking for specific things, like 4 cities back to back like this, but doesn't connect them all, or, you know, here we have 2 cities and a curved road, things like that are in the game just to kind of round out the tiles in the base game. Now, obviously, some people are going to get this for the extra player. I don't need to play Carcassonne with 6, so that doesn't mean anything to me, although, hey, if you want to play it with pink. Like I said in the overview, this has always felt like a patch for Carcassonne. I've always been like, hey, if you get Carcassonne, you probably should play with this. And no matter what other expansions I play with, this one's probably always in there. It's so easy to figure out. Inns make the roads better. Cathedrals make the cities better. The El Grande meeple lets us have just a little bit of interaction back and forth with each other. But most importantly, it's the weird tiles that the original game didn't have. And now I sit there and go, ooh, this is exactly the tile I need to put in this spot. So this is one that comes really close to being kind of almost essential. I like it a lot. I mean, you don't need to play with it, but I think it adds some fun things to the game. So I'll give Inns and Cathedrals an 8 out of 10. Messengers and Mares is an expansion for Carcassonne that adds messengers and mares and scarecrows. Let's take a look in the box. In Messengers and Mares, each player is going to get 3 new pieces. You have a mare, a messenger, and a scarecrow, who's not cool enough to have made the cover of this game. More importantly, you are going to get a new tile here, the Town Hall tile. This tile is great. It doesn't look like much, but you can place it anywhere. It can fit in any spot, and it will close anything that it's next to. You need something to be finished, put the Town Hall tile next to it. You also have the mayor. So the mayor can go in a city. He counts for 0. I mean, he can still score it if he's there by himself. But more importantly, when all the tiles next to a mayor on 4 sides of it are done, if there's another meeple in that city, so let's say somehow there was already a green meeple in this city, the mayor will convert them to one of their own color. A scarecrow is placed in a field, and you'll have it standing up there when you put it in a field. And again, it counts as 0, but when it has all 4 tiles next to it, you can decide to lay it down, turning it into a farmer, replace it with one of your meeples as a farmer, or just pull it back. So it's kind of a way to check out spots. And the messenger gets placed on a road. So when you have a road and the messenger is on the road, they'll score the road, and then they can move to another road that's next to it, or they can even move into a city where they might be able to score there. And they can move into these things even if there's another meeple there of that color. So that is what's in this expansion. I like all 3 of these. My favorite by far are the messengers. I like a road that you can continue and then move on to another road, then continue that one and move into a city, then score that, get your messenger back. It just adds a bit of acceleration to the game. I mean, this says it adds 10 minutes to the game. That's mostly because of more tiles. But also, that town hall tile, goodness gracious, is that great. I have this big thing. I'll never be able to finish my city. Yes, you will. Build that huge city. You will finish it with this tile in that spot that you never thought you'd be able to put a tile in. It's just great. This is something I want to include in every Carcassonne game. Whether you use the rest of this expansion or not, use the town hall tiles. They're great. Mares and scarecrows, they're kind of interesting. It's weird that scarecrow somehow made the list. And the mayor has a little bit of take that to it, so I can see some people not loving having the mares in the game and take over someone else's thing. But those are a minor part of the expansion. To me, the messengers and the new town hall tiles and just the new tiles in general make this a very enjoyable expansion. 8 out of 10. Carcassonne Traders and Builders. This is the second expansion for Carcassonne and adds builders. Doesn't add traders. I guess you are the trader, but it does add pigs. I don't think a thing called traders and pigs or pigs and builders would have sold as well. But let's take a look in the box. In the expansion, Carcassonne Traders and Builders, everyone is going to get 2 tokens. You're going to get a builder and a pig. Now, the pig is placed in a field with a farmer. Whenever someone finishes a city that has a coat of arms in it, you score every pig. Every pig will get 3 points for each completed city next to them, and then you pull them off. You can also pull the farmer off if you want to. Maybe you don't like that area any longer. So the pig, I guess, tells the farmer to go home. Also, you're going to be placing cities out, and you'll notice there are little symbols in these cities. These show chickens. This one shows cloth. When you finish a city, doesn't matter if you control it or not, when you finish a city that has these symbols, you will take 1 symbol for each symbol that's shown in the city. And you'll notice there are chickens, there's wheat, and there's cloth. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most of each token will get 10 points. Beyond that, there's a bunch more tiles, and then there's the builder. Now the builder, when you place a meeple on the board, you can place your builder with them if you want to. So if I have the meeple, let's say I have this city here, and I place my meeple, I put a builder there. Later on, when I continue whatever that builder's in, I'll take the builder off the board and put him next to the pile of tiles we haven't put out yet. And then at the end of my turn, I get to take another turn. And I get my builder back. So the builder's going to let you take multiple turns. And that's what's in this expansion. This is my favorite expansion for Carcassonne and always has been ever since it first came out. The pigs here, I think, really work well in scoring. And they're a nice little addition. Also, they're pigs. Everyone's going to like those. But the 2 other features are fantastic. Traders are great because it helps you, it gives you incentive to finish someone else's city. Why would I ever finish your city? Because I might get 10 or even 20 points at the end of the game if I have the most of these tiles. So I want to help you finish your city. What a neat sense of semi-co-op that adds to the game. And then the builders themselves just adds an acceleration to the game. I put a builder here, and now I've continued that road. Didn't get to add another meeple, kind of boring, but I get the builder back, so I get another turn. And it's really good for those turns where you're continuing a road or continuing a city. You don't have much else you can do, but hey, now you get another turn. So not only did I make something bigger, I get to put out another tile. And so I enjoyed that. The pigs are just icing on the cake, or fat on the cake. I'm not sure how that analogy works, but this is an expansion I like a lot. Traders and Builders, an 8.5 out of 10. Well, there you go, folks. 10 expansions and my ranking. Let me know in the comments what ranking that you would give these. Maybe you like some more than I did. Some of them have changed. I think, well, the catapult has obviously changed, and the towers changed. And like there's small changes. Some are pretty much the same. I would not recommend playing with more than 2 of them at a time. I'll always play with 1 just because it's like a patch, and I'll probably always play with 2. And then I might pick one of the other ones to mess with. But either way, I really like these small boxes. I think this is a nice way for Carcassonne to go ahead forward. And there you go, 10 expansions. Well, before we end, I want to do a shout out to some of our GameFound backers. I want to say thank you to Zod, the Merciless, to Melinda Humphreys, and to Patrick Leiter. We appreciate you supporting the Dice Tower. Thanks so much. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and we'll see you next time. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.